Welcome to the Digital Runway, where beauty, fashion, tech, and AI collide with culture and commerce. I'm your host, Janey Park, the founder of a future focused media brand called the Digital Runway. It's a newsletter, podcast, soon to be next week, a whole series of live shows. And today we're breaking down the AI era of storytelling. It's very timely. We just had ChatGPT image drop, which we'll be getting into. And obviously, today, specifically, we're talking about fashion, music, emotion related to AI and tech with none other than Adriana. She is a British Polish creative director behind Burn All the Bridges. It's a powerful AI meets IRL music video. It is premiering April 4th. Make sure to connect and follow Adriana. She has just dropped the link for the YouTube premiere that is going to happen. She's worked with brands from Chanel, Selfridges, Guess Marciano, Oscar de la Renta, and now she's here to show us what's possible when humans and machines co-create. So, Adriana, welcome to the Digital Runway.
Thank you so much, Janey, for this great intro. Obviously, super honored to be part of your show, which I've been a fan of for a long time. Let's go.
By the way, very quick shout out. Adriana is also the designer who has helped me with this logo, the Digital Runway.
Well, happy to help.
So again, I am using a new platform today, so I'm going to do the best that I can to make sure that I'm flipping through everything correctly. But just very quickly, I just want to say I'm very excited to have Adriana here, and I've got a little QR code if you want to watch on YouTube later. And also later on for newsletter subscribers, we're going to be doing a special bonus content segment where Adriana actually breaks down her tech stack, her creative process, and we get a little bit more authentic and vulnerable, more than we may be on LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. Without further ado, let's get started, Adriana. This is a segment called Digital Decoded, where we literally decode tech terms to make it easily digestible. So we're going to start with a few key terms and just to define them quickly in a few sentences. First is AI music. What is it and how do you use it?
If I can be very honest right now, I haven't really fully tapped into AI music yet, but that's going to be something I want to explore. But to me right now, AI is sort of more of a part of storytelling for music. So obviously the music video itself is an art form which represents music. And so far, I just used it as an AI creator, visual storyteller, and not specifically music as of just creating music itself with it. But I think it's happening in front of our eyes anyway, as well, in our ears. So yeah, I think that's my takeaway for it for now.
Okay, and then let's talk about mixed media in the AI era because your music video is AI plus IRL footage. So, yeah, mixed media in the AI era. How do the physical and digital worlds meet in your work?
To me, as a creative, because I'm quite multifaceted as a creator, like I don't just do visual stuff or just music. It's always been interesting for me to combine different things. And this kind of mixed media sort of approach has been the core of my identity as an artist in so many different forms. And it was a sort of a natural journey for me to also tap into AI and utilize it in my storytelling. So essentially for me, it's just about symbiosis with AI and other mediums, which is, for example, photography or filmmaking or music. So essentially music videos, that's why I love them so much, is like where I can fully express myself and show these different parts of myself, which is as a director, as a musician, as a composer and performer. So that's how I saw myself with AI as well. I didn't really want to do something that's just AI because we have all that content a lot right now. It's becoming very saturated. And to me, it was important to like, how do I differentiate myself and my visual language using AI, but not just focusing on the AI because I feel like it was a bit almost like too easy. I like the challenge. And also having that human factor, which we're going to talk about more, obviously. I felt that was quite essential to me to show AI show the use of AI with this sort of very traditional human approach, which is traditional filmmaking. So basically, how Bernard Bridges was born was through the combination of the traditional filmmaking and implementing AI into it.
How do you bring soul and humanity into AI generation or machine-made visuals?
So I'm one of those artists who hasn't been threatened by AI. I actually saw there's a like amazing potential for self-expression, and I tapped into it quite early, which I'm really glad. Obviously, there's so much going on in front of our eyes. ChatGPT models just dropped as well. I didn't even have time to really explore it yet. So that's probably something that is of a challenge when it comes to emotional FOMO in terms of I don't want to miss out on all these tools. Starting from the negative side for me personally with AI, it's can be very overwhelming. And oh my God, how do I find myself in this? Because there's so much going on. But I think it's very important to like just approach it with peace of mind of okay, I acknowledge that there's so much going on with AI. My emotions can go crazy, threatened by so many artists popping up as well, doing AI stuff and just like sometimes wondering how they created it. So essentially, I think it's just nice to step back and see how do I fit into this with my imagination and what do I want to share? How do I want to express myself? And that's where the magic happens to me personally. It's once you know your vision, or even you're not sure, but you just have a glimpse of an idea, that's when the beauty starts with the AI co-creation. And I really mean it by co-creation, because I don't know if it's like some sort of infinite intelligence when I create with AI, but it's just a magical process because I'm almost feeling like I'm tapping into some higher realms whenever I give them the idea and I know what I want. And then
Mhm.
AI brings me a return, which is like sometimes even more amazing than what I originally had in mind. So I think that's where this co-creation is really beautiful and emotional and it's so powerful. And there are definitely some elements in my music video that just were created in that process when I feel what I was feeding AI with a certain image and I was expecting a different outcome. And then it gave me something completely different, which was like mind blowing.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of like a trust and let it go process. And I think it's more than just technology right now. I think when you say about emotions, it's literally about also tapping into your energy and just like feeding that AI with your energy. And it's some weird magic happens that it just reads it from you. It's not just about the prompt. I literally believe that there's some co-creation which is on the energy level. So that's my statement, but that's how I love working with.
Yeah, no, I love that. And for anyone who is watching, if you've seen any AI fashion or AI music videos or AI music that you either loved or hated, comment. We want to go through this and chat about it. Adriana, let's get into your journey. We've been friends actually for a while. So I know a lot about Adriana, but many of you may not. And I was very excited, obviously, to have her on to support and also to amplify what she's been doing just because her art is incredible. Also, she is building this AI music video and the visuals are incredible. She's a designer, she does branding, she does illustrating. Want to future-proof your brand in beauty, fashion, tech, AI, and business? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Digital Runway. Whether someone is working in the industry or just obsessed with beauty and fashion, every week I write a newsletter, 3 pieces of news under Runway Radar and the Runway Diaries, which is behind the scenes. The newest edition is Janey's AI edit with ChatGPT prompt. I give all this information away completely for free. Check out the Digital Runway email newsletter in the caption. So we're going to get into Adriana's journey from Vogue to virtual. And Adriana, as I mentioned, your career spans from illustration, fashion campaigns, branding, and now AI-driven storytelling. Let's walk through your evolution. Like what sparked your journey from fashion illustration to the digital AI side? Was there a specific aha moment where either you felt a surge of emotions, good or bad, and you were like, I need to get on this and I need to learn this?
Definitely. So yeah, as you said, I feel like you, Janie, as well. We've been through that real big IRL fashion industry journey to like old fashioned tech, which is really cool. And I know that's why we've also probably bonded because we have been through a similar sort of in the same industry, but different fields narrative. Funny enough, my journey with fashion literally started as a fashion illustrator student at London College of Fashion. And when I was studying, I think that's quite essential to mention this. I really learned that it's so important to learn for me as a fashion illustrator to find a way and to express the need as well for this sort of medium because it's so old school and traditional. And what I'm always forever grateful from from LCF, what I learned is that I need to learn how to reinvent myself and how to fit in and how to commercially think in aspects. How is my talent useful, basically, right? Because essentially that's how I got into creative direction through my fashion inspiration. I love it. I know it's something that there's a niche for that, especially with live events. And that was like my biggest kind of take off in my career as a live fashion illustrator for like luxury VIP events. But obviously it was like I want more from life. I don't want to just draw and I want to be like useful. So I think already that's been something very deeply imprinted in my career from day one. There always has to be room for a reinvention. And also, let's be honest, fashion is such a diverse and fast moving, fast paced industry. It's essential to stay on track. So it's important to see what the trends are. I'm old enough to have witnessed the birth of Instagram, how they killed the blogs. So it was in front of my eyes. And it's okay, you know what, girl, you need to pay attention to what's going on. And I think the breakthrough moment when I got into this whole thing's tech actually started with the NFTs during the pandemic. There was not much going on. I didn't have many freelance jobs, actually zero almost. And it's funny because it was a great timing for me because I was ready as well to have some break from the fashion industry because there was a lot of things I was just hating about it. I felt like every brand I worked with found a similar narrative. There was like sometimes a lot of toxicity. And I was just like, God, I want something new. Help me to get out of this because I'm like, did I spend 10 years hustling for this and hating my own industry? So it was a bit like a weird time for me. And when I discovered NFTs, I was like, okay, this is super exciting because I'm a digital artist. I've always had an issue with like just selling my work because I'm not a painter. Everything's very focused on digital outlets. And there you go. Finally, there's a solution to really promote your digital art. And that gave me big leverage. I started to build my community. It was such an amazing, wow, my world changed basically. I just started to feel seen, connected. So that was incredible, the whole Web3 narrative. And another big moment, like a turning point for me was because the bear market started, like after 1 year, the bear market started to creep in. And I was like, okay, what's next? What's next? And the game changer was then it wasn't called the Future Plus, but it was created by Ashumi from Future Plus, an event on digital fashion, like back in 2022. And I was like, that's it. This is it. Because that was a combination of everything I knew from my industry, but in this new sort of energy, which is obviously already been linked to the NFT market I was involved in, and then start to go to these conferences, again, continue being inspired. Everything was just amazingly unfolding over my eyes. And I was just like, I want to hear it. I'm staying here. I feel like I found my vibe and tribe, and there's so much going on. And I love this fast paced. It's fast paced, it's creative, it's definitely, I feel healthier than fashion industry, strictly just fashion industry. Sorry, I hope my ex bosses don't hate me right now. Although they can, I didn't kill. But I'm happy for this journey. It's been a ride, but I love it.
Yeah, I think from NFTs, digital fashion, augmented reality, and now like really the buzzword is AI and use cases for fashion technology that actually solve problems and help people. But for your journey specifically, how did you go from NFTs to AI and
Mm.
prompting, working with Mid-Journey or deciding which platforms were the right ones for you? What was that gateway into AI?
I think because this whole digital fashion industry was like is so close to everything tech and like it was at the time like metaverse hype, all these like NFTs. I don't even remember exactly how I tapped into AI. There was just a moment when I started to see people playing with the Mid-Journey very basic version. It was like back in Discord. And I think like friends like who were doing it. And I was like, oh, let me try that. It's felt like one of those moments again when I'm learned from my life lessons that I should be looking into it because I feel like this is the next thing. And I feel like I've had a hunch developed and also intuition for trend setting or what's next, what's is good, like coming up next. So I think it was a natural flow. I was like, oh, wow, this is exciting. And I really just love it. Like I just loved it. I was just like, oh my God, this is so cool because I'm like creating these images without the photographer, without all this like essential everything you need to do originally in the post production. So I really liked it and I just got into it. I think because it was also like then still a need and there was like still like very much beginning stages. It gave me like a again, I think exposure and people like were interested in this because I was one of the not many artists who were just tapping into in the beginning. So I think that's how it
Yeah.
started like in a brawl. And I remember the very first time I showcased my AI work was actually also at the Future Plus event at Samsung in New York. And it felt again this synergy. Okay, I'm onto something. This is gonna be cool. This is gonna be important in the future. And I felt it's just like something that it was a no-brainer for me. I felt like I need to stick to this and keep
Mm.
up with this. And I'm glad I did because obviously there's so much growth in process right now and so there's going to be more. So obviously, as I say that lightly, I'm giving myself an advice. Just because I've done something doesn't mean this is the end. It's like far from it. So that's also probably why, and we're gonna probably talk about this soon as well, I decided to make this huge challenge for myself of integrate media and the music video with AI to push the boundaries even more. What else can I do with it? And bear in mind that project has been in the making from the beginning of as a concept for a year. It's been something that I've been strategizing and pushing myself towards for growth. Yeah, since basically February last year. That was also linked to the digital launch of my caps. So again, building the whole
Yeah.
narrative, creative direction, not just visually speaking, but also from like a marketing perspective of like how do I present myself as an artist, like a very holistically technologically speaking, because that project also was built around the community with the digital product. So it was also something that I was completely starting from new.
We're definitely going to get into more of the specifics of Burn All the Bridges, but I want to take a step back for a second before we do that. What is the common thread from your work from Chanel, Selfridges, Renta, Marciano, which we're going to show a little bit of clip after this, to what you're doing now? Because you've worked in traditional fashion and now, the new era of fashion, which is the digitalization of fashion tech. So how do you explain that connectivity between the two worlds?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think essentially it's about curiosity and just being interested of like, how do I challenge myself, exploring new things? And again, I just keep coming back to that momentum of learning to push yourself and not being staying in one place. Because all these projects we just mentioned, they happened because I was getting myself out there and I was willing to explore. I didn't want to settle with one thing because it's like either a fashion illustration or a campaign or something mixed media. Like Oscar de Renta, for example, was my first mixed media project I did. So I think it's exploring and pushing yourself out there because I think essentially fashion and storytelling is all underlined by this link of like, how do I make things exciting and interesting and different? How do I relate to people? How is it gonna resonate with the people? I feel like that's also what I'm driven by. I'm a very commercial artist in terms of, I think because of my background as well. I do think that I like the kind of like commercial aspect of my work because I've always been interested. It's like, how do I make it relatable to my audience? So when there was like fashion illustration, the portrait, it was very custom made. It's like literally this personal link that I'm creating something for someone. So it's the same with
Yeah.
AI. Now, when I do the campaign, it's like I do it for the brand. I do it for someone. So I like to have this challenge of like, how does this brand want my talents and how my talent fit into their journey and their visual language? So I feel it's about a symbiosis, and Burn on the Bridge is a little bit different because this is pure me as an artist, as expressing
Mhm.
myself. However, one of the major reasons why I've created is music video, which was obviously a big investment on my end as well as a producer, because I want to do things like this for brands. It was like I'm pushing myself and I'm testing my own ground as a creator, but with the vision that this is the sort of campaign I want to do one day for Dior, maybe. So it was
Mhm.
like I want to do things that are useful in a visual language, but make them look like they still are a piece of art, but in a commercial aspect.
Yeah, and I think that art and commerce have to go together. If you are not trying to make money, then you can do art for the sake of art. But I think at the same time, there's a commercialization and just a with the times and the culture aspect. And actually, I want to just talk about this very quickly. But ChatGPT yesterday, or sorry, 2 days ago, just launched ChatGPT Image. And basically, from this, you could do text prompting for like any image. And the hot thing that came about from this was this whole thing about Ghibli, which is Spirit Away. It's a studio, it's very anime. And everyone was saying, give me my portrait in Ghibli style. And it just went viral. Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI or ChatGPT, as you may know, also posted about this and this whole like text to image and what you were saying before in terms of even mid journey before it was Discord. Now it just everything is going to be made easier for the consumer or the user or the artist to be able to generate and to work with AI, not necessarily fight with AI, but work with it together. It's absolutely incredible. I've seen advertisements, I've seen just basically product shoots and models. It's incredible. But before we get into a deep rabbit hole in chat image, I want to backtrack a little bit and show you a clip of Adriana live illustrating, and then we're going to get into her AI music video and that journey. So without further ado, we're going to go into an example with Marciano. Yes.
Was you think and being and when you want when I'm being in say it again on you think yeah I think when you know I want was it been this gay I really let you under me.
Okay, you have a lot of famous people in there.
I really let
Whether or not, can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
As a fashion illustrator,
That journey, like, in terms of just that experience. You're sketching by hand, but,
yeah,
tell us a little
I
bit about
absolutely
that
love
video.
it. Every live illustration show for me, I'm having so much fun. And again, it's just I just love this one-to-one connection. Live illustration has been such an amazing outlet for me because not only I'm speaking to people, which I really love as well, and second, it's like quick. So it doesn't allow me to think too much. And literally most of these portraits that you've seen, I create them in 5 minutes. So I'm draw extremely fast. And obviously, bear in mind, this is supported by years of experience. So to get that 5 minute drawing, it took me 20 years probably to get there, right? But I love it because art, it doesn't allow me to think too much and just get it done. And it's exciting. It's just like fast paced. It's so cool. And oh, and obviously the biggest reward is when I see the people so happy with their portraits. And I've done hundreds of them, trust me. And I have to say that I'm boasting right now, but I never had an unhappy person in their portrait. Like it's always been happy response. So it's amazing. It's very rewarding. I love it.
Okay, so if anyone is watching and you wanna do live illustration, please let us know because Adriana is available for that. But I wanna talk about one person. You have one person that we talked about that you are manifesting to actually do an illustration for. Do you remember who that is?
Oh, wait.
Real estate. No, you haven't done her yet. Real estate.
Yes.
She was in a TV show.
There's Paris Hilton. Yeah.
Oh, Paris Hilton? Okay.
I mean, oh, you were talking about Selling Sunset.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Oh my God, what's her name again? Chelsea Lascani.
Yes.
That was a proper manifestation. Absolutely.
I remember having this discussion that she wants to illustrate Chelsea at some point. Chelsea,
Chelsea, did you hear this?
on LinkedIn. Oh, it's going to be cut to YouTube, Apple, Spotify. And on that note, the Digital Runway actually is a newsletter, also a media brand. So it covers beauty, fashion, tech, and AI. So there is a newsletter that is pinned on LinkedIn or in other channels. So definitely go and check it out. All right, we're going to get into burn all the bridges. We're going to go deep here. Can you explain to the audience, anyone who's watching live or the playback, what is the concept of Burn All the Bridges that you could explain in 1 minute, if that's even humanly possible?
Essentially, I always say Burn All the Bridges is a manifesto of stepping into your courage and leaving everything behind that doesn't serve you. So it has so many meanings of leaving a toxic situation, relationship, work environment, but also like literally tapping into something new when it comes to potential of experimenting, putting yourself out there, changing your life. So in order to become that new person, our new identity, it's essential to burn all the bridges. And literally that was like everything unfolded since then for me personally. Burn all the bridges is about stepping into the most powerful new version of yourself and shedding anything that's holding you back. And to me personally, that journey involved redirecting my career, leaving a very toxic relationship, shedding parts of myself that I realized were holding me back from being who I really wanted to be. What is it that drives you? And then finding that fire within, basically. So the fire within, I think each of us as a human potential, we have that. But
Yeah.
sometimes in order to find that fire within, we really need to be brutal about the past, just be this badass version of yourself, forget about being people pleaser, and just this magic unfold. And also, I would say that as a woman, that was also very important to me. Burn on the Bridges is essentially about discovering your darker feminine. It's about tapping into this, I call it like a dark goddess sort of energy, because the problem is that I think a lot of women will relate to this, is that women in a patriarchy sort of narrative in society are often undermined. They are just like looked down on, or we are afraid to really fully go after what we really want in our lives for XYZ reasons. So Bernard Bridges is supposed to like, I want to create a vision that is going to help everyone, especially women, to really not hold back yourself and just be saying, it's okay for me to be that baddest version of myself. It's okay for me to be like a powerful version of myself. If I'm even burning someone's bridge, I don't care. This is what matters to me. And I can tell you that I'm here right now on the other side of the bridge. It really paid off. So I will tell you, it works.
I love that. And we've had this conversation for quite some time about Burn All the Bridges and what you're building. And I think it's incredible. Like, one thing it just reminded me of is every year I choose a word. Your belief system is like, for me, like I pray, I meditate, and I reflect on the past year. And this year, my word of the year is breakout. And it reminds me of what you're saying with Burn All the Bridges. Sorry, I can't speak English for a second because I was speaking Korean earlier. So now my brain sometimes has a little bit glitch. But for breakout, what I really tapped into was this idea that we're breaking out of our negativity, our limitations, about monetizing our dreams, chasing our dreams, and doing the things that make us happy and passionate, but also making a living out of that. And you and I have also talked about The Artist Way, which I love that book. And I'm going to start doing that again and sharing my journey for the next 3 months, because I'm also ramping up to do a lot of different things in terms of launching 3X shows starting next week, because I want to lead into what I love and what I'm passionate about and make it or break it, trying to see how I can actually walk this journey out. And I think that's actually extremely exhilarating, but it's absolutely terrifying at the same time. And I remember back in the day when I was working in Hong Kong and a lot of people were expats, and on a package, they called it the golden handcuffs. Your salary is paid for, you have housing, you might have a car or something like that, or even your kids' international school education paid for. This day and age, I think finding that kind of package is a little bit different than it was even like 5 or 10 years ago, just because of the economy and also just globalization. But I digress. I just relate to what you're saying. But I want to dig deeper into what's the concept behind the music video in terms of blending live footage and AI visuals. And you alluded to it earlier of wanting to create something that could also represent your creativity as an artist, but also something that you could pitch to other brands, which is extremely commercial and very smart. But walk us through that concepting and blending from IRL and also AI together.
Yeah. So to be fair, I approached it as a complete experiment as well. I had no idea what's gonna happen. It was just a vision that I had. I was just like, oh, it would be so cool if maybe I could blend these worlds because I love combining things in mixed media. And it was just like, okay, that's gonna be like my new tool to explore as if AI and blending it with something real. So yeah, it was amazing in terms of I learned so much through it. Again, because I know now what challenges I had to overcome if I'm gonna do it for the brand. And it was just like an incredible learning experience because to be fair, I don't know many examples of this sort of projects like I've done. We see a lot of just AI generated videos, which can be incredible, but I haven't really seen that synergy of, oh, there's a physical, real footage, and then there's AI generated footage. So that was my approach. I learned so much about like, how do I make it happen as well, like from a technical process. It was like, originally, I just wanted to make sure that AI would enhance my visuals and it's like supporting my vision. So I wanted to create something very basic. So you'll see that literally the original footage was very minimalistic. It was literally just a studio with the painted red wall. And that's it. It was red wall, me, and the lights and the camera. Sounds very easy, but actually was very complicated as well. That's another story. I wanted to just basically approach it from like this very imaginative, very rich, very like unreal in terms of like AI, very like fantasy world with this like raw footage. It's kind I want to create that contrast. And also at the same time, I was aware that these tools are gonna keep upgrading. It's like the AI is gonna be getting better and better. But I was thinking like, how do I make this timeless? How do I make it like a statement piece? Like when we see films from like the 60s and they're still amazing because they're just essentially great visuals and we don't care that the camera was crap by then, you know what I mean? So that was my approach is I want to create something timeless using the AI tools as they are right now, also of now. And I felt that combination, this physical aspect would make it more timeless as well, if that makes sense. Okay, yes, to have that balance of like imagination and fantasy of AI that could deliver, but making sure it's like aesthetically pleasing and not too crazy, basically. So it was like it was a lot of thoughtfulness, and I think I want to always highlight this that this was a very long-term project. I mainly did it all by myself. Obviously, yes, I had some extra help with color grading and tiny VFX, but it was also the very first time when I was the editor of it because I was choosing all this material myself. And because I was the AI artist, so I was like, I need to make as a director, the cut. I need to choose the best footage. I needed to make sure that this combines well with these AI tools. I had a direction I knew I wanted to achieve. I knew what was going to be the color dynamics, everything like that. But it was also very experimental because I didn't know what's going to happen. Like, it was like, I'm just going to go for it. I have this footage from the Red Studio and then now what? Obviously, there's a motive I was aware of. Okay, the burning rose, tapping into your potential, making that statement. But I didn't know essentially what's going to be the final scenes of the AI. So that's like pretty crazy and wild. So yeah, it was amazing process, learned a lot, and I would do it again, obviously, but knowing much more now about the process.
Yeah, and we'll get into a little bit about the tools that you use. And then, like I said earlier, there's going to be subscriber only content for the Digital Runway newsletter in terms of breaking down your tech stack and a little bit of a how-to mini session. But also, I just want to address, like I did see a question come through on LinkedIn, but if you have any questions across LinkedIn, X, and YouTube, please go ahead and drop them. There will be a Q&A session. But without further ado, I want to actually play the teaser that Adriana clipped. And I just want to mention this really quick is Adriana did pin in LinkedIn the YouTube premiere event, which is going to be on April 4th. So make sure to click that link or go check the playback if you're watching. And I'm going to link that on YouTube as well. So let's watch the teaser.
Yeah, we bring a little bit to show. So if you keep your arms, you don't keep your arms, so just space because we're doing surge. But agree. You what one so when you was a second because you remember the same down fully confidence.
Oh my goodness. I know her on LinkedIn, but I'm so excited. I was like, little Bape. Okay, but first of all, before we get into the AI, can we talk about what you're wearing? What are you wearing? Can you like tell the audience? Because I know you love Mugler, a huge fan as well, but what is this? What are you wearing?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yes, I come from like again fashion background clearly, so that's important. Fashion is very important, and yeah, I think I forgot to say that in the process that the styling was so important because it was like me, Red Wall, and fashion that play the game with like very important parts, and because fashion tells the story, and it was very important to choose the outfits that are very empowering and I felt represent that dark goddess basically. So it was like also definitely this is the most sensual video I've ever done in my life for sure. So actually this is what I'm wearing is an independent designer from Poland. And by the way, I'm Polish as well, so people should know that as well. Most of the team I work with was actually from Poland as well. So I love that. Flagging that as well, like patriotic vibes. And yeah, her name is I am Wolchuk. I could also put it later somewhere. She's done really cool stuff, and she's up in Coupling Comic, and Hype Beast has promoted her recently. So I thought, okay, I want to have one of the designers that potentially is like a new talent from Poland. Why not? Because it's incredible. But in that video, we also there's another the bra that I'm wearing, the red one is actually friends of mine. It was 3D printed, so also was really cool to showcase that this is fashion tech in there, and it's done by Zulu Cookie. He's also worked with Psyche, so it's like a very cool
Oh yeah.
Polish designer as well, very taking off in his like career and stuff with 3D design. And he
Great.
does also like 3D shoes. So it was cool for me to have something of his as a kind of element of this kind of like digital tech fashion. And in that clip, we don't have it, but the hero, I think all the looks are really hero looks because I want to make sure that these all 3 looks also are representing the narrative. They also play the role in the narrative of the
Yeah.
stages of burning the bridges. And the one is obviously the first one was like searching for yourself. Second was like exploring and tapping into. And the 3 is obviously when you're already out there after crossing the bridge. So I feel like each look also, when you watch the whole video, you understand the journey that each look shows that stage. It's like behind the scenes narrative explanation was the meaning of each look, if that makes sense. The first hero look that's not featured in this clip was from Mugler, which obviously
Yeah.
was because
I love
Mugler is vibe. And so yeah.
Okay, can I just say, because I thought you were going to show up with red lipstick. Okay, Adriana and I both love red
I
lipstick,
my lipstick with me. That's girl.
but I wore red lipstick. I wore
I
this
saw that. I love it.
for just for you. And then this, I've had this for like Y2K days. Is Kenneth J. Lane, this like red lipstick necklace that I love. Expensive. I think it's like 100 or something like that. Okay, relatively compared to like luxury designers. But it's just I love this kind of like fun, cool design. And I was thinking, I'm totally veering off topic, by the way. And we definitely need to get through because I want to be respectful of your time because we're both super busy. But the red and the black is such a vibe and an energy in terms of taking back your power, walking into your purpose. But also this, have you ever heard of Wong Kar-wai?
Oh, I love absolutely.
Root for Love. If anyone is into cinematography, it's beautiful. Obviously, yours, it feels more like a modern version of it, but also Wong Kar-wai.
Thank you. I love
Yeah, just have such a cool vibe to it. And they actually just launched, I think I'm gonna have to fact check this, but I believe it's a Prada pop-up in China that has like the vibes and like the design of Wong Kar-wai, which I was like, I totally want to go and visit this just because it's a beautiful structure. Want to future-proof your brand in beauty, fashion, tech, AI, and business? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Digital Runway. Whether someone is working in the industry or just obsessed with beauty and fashion, every week I write a newsletter, 3 pieces of news under Runway Radar and the Runway Diaries, which is behind the scenes. The newest edition is Janey's AI edit with ChatGPT prompt. I give all this information away completely for free. Check out the Digital Runway email newsletter in the caption. We have about 10 minutes, so I want to power through a little bit. Can you name the AI tools that were essential to your process? And obviously in the bonus content, we'll go through specifically like your how-to and your AI tech stack.
Absolutely. Clink is number one to me when it comes to video. Like the snippets you've seen, basically, they were, when it comes to this realness that I achieved, which looks like literally identical to the photo, it was thanks to Clink. I'm not gonna lie, like that was a game changer. I worked mainly with Luma, Dream Machine, and they're like, they can also achieve really great results. However, it wouldn't give me that, one-to-one likeness as Clink did. However, I also have to say I found my own process how to use it well. So I'm definitely gonna throw some workshops this year. So watch out for that. And I'll be teaching how to use that because it was not just like a prompt. It was like a specific approach I did, and I learned, I think, my own secret sauce how to get there. But let's
Yeah.
say that I wouldn't have also achieved it if I didn't have this real footage. That's why I'm saying it's so important. That was essential to have that real footage, and AI just empowered me for it because AI really co-created visuals with me based on
Yeah.
something that I created. So that's my mic drop in this second right now. So Clink, yes, Luma, and obviously, yes, Midjourney and Magnific for really getting done upgraded like likeness of reality. These are my go-tos, and these are really the 4 tools I've been using like all the time. And I have to say, it's not AI, but I always say as well that don't scrap off your traditional skill sets, whatever other things you have done in your past, because Photoshop played a freaking massive role in this as well. I was using the original footage, Photoshop, AI, and that's how the whole thing came together. So it was a lot of mix and match. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely gonna dig into that. I'd love to host a workshop with you going through your process, especially like a mixed media video. On this note, I want to talk about this through line. Like, how does this type of storytelling and mixed media and using AI, how do you think it actually helps to drive results or like a business case? Because obviously you work with brands from a branding or even AI perspective, but what do you see as the business case for AI, for mixed media, for storytelling, and how brands can leverage it?
I think from similar reasons I did it for myself is that I cut the process like very like a lot of process has been cut off in this basically. So yes, I did use AI, but it was based on the physical because it was essential for me to create the final image. I wouldn't, yes, probably you can create something from scratch with AI, but let's see how it goes with like the new chat GPT and everything is just unfolding so quickly. So maybe I would not be surprised if we will actually cut off this the real footage down the line. However, I still think there's a room for it. And I think it's just exciting because, like, again, how would you, for example, me as a model in this, right? I know there's this whole campaign that H&M's just done with the AI models. That's also very
Yeah.
interesting to me. And I think definitely it's going to unfold. And again, technology is probably going to keep coming up and allowing us to just really maybe drop some certain things. But still, that's my point. That these twins are based on real human beings. So we needed to have their photo to create the likeness of them. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is that we still need a reference because
Agreed.
essentially, yes, H&M could have got this like AI models created from scratch. And I've done that recently as well for a project I'm working with, Quantum Neuron, that does like very advanced AI agents. Yes, I created these people from scratch from AI. So yeah, it's another niche. But if we want to create something of a likeness of representing a specific person, like for example, me in this video, I couldn't just do it from a prompt, if that makes sense. I needed to feed and train the model, or I needed to explain that this is how I want to look, all that stuff. So I feel like that's where I'm saying, like, it's still gonna be important to have this reference. And like, we will need to, like, a real photo, even if it's like a camera photo from your iPhone, it's still something we need to refer to. So that's where, even as basic as that's where I see things are heading. And again, like, I really love that concept of where what I did is like, when you see the models who are realistic, like just a photo taken of them put into this AI world, I think that's gonna continue. Like, it's definitely gonna just stay here. And probably, yes, a lot of things are threatened in terms like maybe 3D designers, photographers even are threatened. It is scary, but at the same time, I would lie if I wasn't driven by fear at all. Yes, I'm mostly positive and happy about AI, but going back to your questions earlier about how this transition happened, it was also because I was like, I don't want to be left out. And it's important to grow and not to turn your heads away when you see something crazy in front of your eyes. So I was like, I better get onto this, not just because I'm excited, but also because I feel like, hey, this is important. I think it's just wild. I think we haven't had this revolution for 50 years or more, maybe, and since the internet, and it's, you gotta get on it. I hate to say it to you, but if you really want to stay in your little bubble of just things that have been done forever, you're not gonna last too long. I'm sorry to say that. I say that as an AI artist who's feeling like constantly FOMO'd by new tools getting out there. I feel like I need to stay on my game.
Yeah, you're literally just talking about before when we did like a tech check before the live show, like trying out ChatGPT image and like Adriana's head down, getting everything together to launch her music video April 4th. Things are happening in AI every single day and it's changing. So it's scary how fast things are moving, but also there's an element of FOMO of not being able to keep up. And I totally get that. And I think even what you were saying before about H&M and the AI twins and the models and AI influencers, virtual influencers has been happening for a while. But as bigger brands and more brands actually get into it, it's definitely getting a lot more play. And I'm excited because that's one of the stories that I've earmarked as my hero story to talk about in my newsletter on Sunday, to going through like a playbook of like marketing. But I do want to answer this question because this was actually submitted through Instagram. The business case for me, if I'm going to break it down like very simply, when it comes to AI and using it either for like fashion or editorial or images, is number one, budget. It literally cuts down your budget because you don't have to pay all these different people. You maybe work with an AI agency or AI artist. Of course, I understand, to Adriana's point, on the flip side, unless you're actually keeping up and learning about this, you may actually get cut out of the equation in terms of a brand actually wanting to hire or work with you. The part that drives us is not wanting to get replaced by AI and robots. So learning it, learning how to use it, and learning how to leverage it, because it's still so early to say, hey, I'm an AI artist or AI fashion designer or AI editorial, whatever it may be. Of course, the pricing may be different in terms of what you're able to charge as an artist or designer, but you could also do 5x, 10x the amount of work that before would take you a lot of time. And also as a brand, I mean, you could work with designers who are using AI versus having someone internal that needs to go through that training process. And I think in terms of results, it just means like A, cutting in costs, and B, volume that you're able to create. Because the way that AI content generation even works, you can repurpose clips. After this, I'm going to throw this into an AI that's going to take out the ums and ahs and all like the filler words. And then I'm going to go into another clip maker, which will literally clip all like the best clips. Of course, I have to adjust it a little bit, but it literally saves hours and hours of time that you could actually spend working on strategy instead and work through the digitalization or automation of a lot of the AI. But I do want to say, because we are coming up on time, do you have 5 more minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. If you have any questions, I do see one question I mentioned earlier, which we will get to. If you have any other questions, please drop them in the comments wherever you are, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube, and we're going to address them. You know, what I modeled after what a lot of the fashion magazines are doing, because I love the fun fashion, tech, digitalization, AI side. So the segment is called Closet Confessions. It's rapid fire. We're going to switch gears for a bit of fun. Adriana, are you ready for a lightning round?
Ready.
Okay, first question. Coffee or matcha?
Coffee.
Oh,
No, I was thinking about it. I was like, I should take coffee. I'm sorry.
odds. I made a TikTok the other day because I was like, you know what? Every day I go to bed excited and smiling as I'm like closing my eyes, being like, oh my goodness, I get to have my morning coffee and my afternoon matcha.
We talked about it. It's exactly my same routine. Coffee comes first.
The smell, like the caffeine, I need that extra hit. Okay. Second question, best advice you've ever received.
So speaking where it's always better to be overdressed than underdressed.
Okay. So who's your style icon?
And one of them is Style Heroine. She's like a Greek influencer. Hairstyle is freaking awesome. And also, I would say from timeless icons is Audrey Hepburn.
Let's get into then what's your power outfit?
Black blazer and a red lipstick.
Okay.
Sometimes
Yeah. What bridge are you burning?
with with limiting beliefs.
Dream collaboration, brand, artist, AI tool, or all of them? Give it to us.
YSL, Yves Saint Laurent. It's on my. I even have to show you this, but like it's on my really wallpaper. Adriana X Yves Saint Laurent. All right. So this is
man.
speaking of red lipsticks. By the way, I'm gonna do something as a twist of that. I'm manifesting something with that, but even if it doesn't manifest exactly, there's gonna be something related to this. I'm gonna do it later with Burn the Bridges again.
Okay. Most underrated use of AI or tech in fashion.
It was a tough one for me because I'm like, to be fair, I think I just wish there was like more mixed media, honestly, with AI. I think that I just still hope that this is gonna take off, and hence my video hopefully is gonna open some doors and eyes for some brands. So yeah, I would say that.
Spicy hot take on the future of fashion.
I think AI is definitely gonna play a major role. I think the AI influencers, all that stuff is gonna just keep booming, and love digital fashion. Obviously that's how I got into this industry. However, I still feel like, again, what I think, it's probably under the same, going back to your earlier question, I think digital should be still like, it's an underrated thing. I feel like it's such a huge potential and it's so exciting. And I would say the same here. The same question applies to both like digital.
Top 3 sources for AI fashion and fashion tech.
No brainer, the Digital Runway. Been a fan since the beginning. Also, I would say Vogue Business. I love when they cover new tech stuff. It's really great. And Red Eye for the aesthetics.
Oh, I love Red Eye for aesthetics.
So Daniela and Gloria Maria.
Yeah. The way that I am not a designer. So I love the way that they put things together. But what's the one thing that people may not know about you?
I am a very extroverted person on these conferences and I love people. However, this video wouldn't exist if I didn't have my hermit introverted side. So I can be very introverted sometimes. I need my space, switch off, don't talk to me. And I think that doesn't show really much in the world because I'm much of a like go-getter, like a social butterfly, which definitely I am most of the time. But I need to like disconnect and then I'm like not nice.
I can relate because we've gone to a conference together and I turn into melting face emoji. Like I can turn it on like this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I need to go take a break and sit in silence and look at the wall and not talk to anyone.
I'm laughing that someone from the community, like digital fashion, remembered my sentence, which I said, it's a social hangover. So yeah, it's like I suffer sometimes from social hangover, and then I'm like, don't talk to me, like another emoji.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's a lot, especially when you're meeting people and you're excited to connect and you want to give them an authentic connection and have a conversation, but you're also repeating yourself over and over again, your same intro, and need to be on the same level of hype as you're doing it. So it's always interesting. I want to get to Q&A. So if any of you have any more questions, please drop them in. But I do want to get to this one, which is from LinkedIn. And Saka, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Please let me know how to pronounce it. But he says, how much of speed plays a role? Because AI is producing faster, we neglect storytelling and settle down with a unusual visual as it's impactful for a shorter period of time.
Let's be honest, I think that's why AI has been evolving so fast in front of our eyes, because people like the efficiency. And obviously, where people, time is money. So obviously, businesses side of things, people would invest in AI because it speeds up a lot of process, right? So we all have been there. We are aware of it. So yes, it is important. At the same time, when you said, I understand your point of view of making sure that doesn't reflect on the quality, because I think essentially, I would say personally, I think like everything with quality will just stand its time, even if, let's say, good AI image took a little bit more time than the other. Is as if we were comparing fast fashion versus luxury. There's room for everything. It's like we have high quality productions and probably maybe more elevated AI, and there's going to be AI that was generated really quickly, but that content will reflect that quality. So I think essentially, I wouldn't really worry that much about the quality outcome, because AI is here to, yes, help and serve us and make things faster. And that can be overwhelming, as we said about FOMO. But probably it's still going to be important for like the higher end brands that, for example, I want to work with, that it's a good quality. So even if it's going to take a little bit more time, it will stand the test of time.
Yeah. This is like literally a conversation for a debate that we could go back and forth on. But I think to your point, Adriana, of what you just shared, it's like there's a human element of art and storytelling. Obviously, some LLMs, like language models, are better than others. But I think at the same time, like number one, you need a reference, right? And the humans are going to create the prompt now, and they're going to put in a reference image and prompt it. For example, it makes me think about even what Wildy is doing, who's a friend of ours. Shout out to Wildy, which she has vitiligo, and she has prompted the models for diversity and to represent vitiligo in their skin color. So I think that there's a way to integrate. Of course, the speed plays a role, but there's a trade-off. You have to decide, are they both important? Are you going to invest time in actually doing it? Or are you going to choose one and sacrifice another? It's an ongoing debate. And I think for an artist, it's a personal decision. But bottom line is either learn AI or get left behind. It's literally in every single field, from robotics to medical to content to marketing to speaking to writing, whatever it may be. It's literally the fastest industrial revolution that we've seen, as you said, since the age of the internet, or even what we call Web 2 of read and write, of having social media and being able to engage. So, super interesting questions. I appreciate you for responding. And I'm just going to get through the last part because we are quite over. I do want to say, first of all, thank you, Adriana. I loved taking a look at it. I've had my sneak peek already of taking a look at the music video and seeing all the visuals that you've been sharing on social media. Obviously, we've talked about it for a while now, but it's just nice to be able to share your story with other people so that they can find out. But where can people find you? How can they support you? And final thoughts.
Definitely, please, let's connect. Whatever social media outlet is good for you. I'm on Instagram as Adriana Illustration. That's my main go-to. That's where the best find me, and I'm like the most active there. Second, obviously, LinkedIn here. I'll drop my name, Krawcewicz, so nobody could say that apart from Polish people. Adriana here, like let's connect here as well as chat. X, I am as Adriana NFT. To be fair, yeah, I am there, but not super active. But obviously, happy to reconnect after this chat. I'll definitely check all the DMs. So feel welcome to reach out to me there. And obviously, please sign up to my YouTube channel. That's where the music is gonna drop. I just sent a link in the comments where you can turn the notification on when it's out on the 4th of April. There's gonna be a live watch. I'm gonna go live as well, so we can chat about it and have a virtual get together celebration, and yeah, let's burn bridges there. So yeah, please reach out, connect, and obviously please sign up for my YouTube channel. That would be amazing.
And what time is it on April 4th?
It's 7 p.m. UK time. Actually, let me double check on this, but yeah, it's
Your time, your YouTube channel.
Probably this is just the beginning. Like the premiere is just the beginning, and I will be sharing more about this video. I mentioned briefly the workshops. I'm definitely gonna be promoting this the next couple of months. This is just the beginning.
Amazing. Just for anyone who is listening across LinkedIn, X, YouTube, thank you for joining. Also, thank you for the question. I just want to say, Adriana, thank you again. It was great to dig into the story. We talked about a lot of interesting things, and I'm excited to clip it. So the replay drops on Sunday on YouTube, also Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and I'll be clipping fun and educational and just insightful takes from Adriana and sharing that across social. So make sure to also connect with myself on the different channels: LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, obviously more professional on LinkedIn versus TikTok is more just like quick takes on different things. But I'm very excited to share this journey with you, Adriana. And I also just want to share really quick the newsletter. I'm going to be covering the H&M and also AI and what's going on. So I have this new QR code, which is brand new on this new streaming platform that I'm excited. So looking forward to connect. Again, thank you so much for joining us on the Digital Runway, and to stay ahead and not get replaced by AI and robots, because that is all of our goals right now. So thank you. Have a great rest of the week, and let's connect.
Yes. Thank you so much, Janey, and everyone who tuned in. It was a pleasure. Again, so much fun.
I love it. And last bit, very quick, there will be a subscriber only bonus. So actually, we're going to film something really quick about Adriana's creative process and her 3 tips for anyone wanting to break in to AI fashion and a little bit more vulnerability. So make sure to stay tuned. Thank you.